Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, we cut through the hype and the noise to give you the non-biased information you can use to make informed decisions. Now, this video is going to sound so positive that it's hard to believe that I'm not being biased. But guys, my research has led me to what I think are the best of the best projects, and that's HBAR is definitely one of them. And everything I'm sharing with you guys has merit. Now, that being said, no matter how bullish you may be on HBAR, you're probably not bullish enough. Now, as positive as that sounds, I've got to share a little bit of negative news with you at the end of the video. It's not really that negative, but it's something that everyone that owns HBAR needs to be aware of. So we're going to talk about that as well. And we're also not only going to dive into HBAR, we're going to dive into two projects that I personally will be stacking to prepare for the next bull run. This is not financial advice, but let's get into it. Now, one thing I want to bring to your attention that a lot of people don't really talk about, and I normally just forget about it, and it sounds trivial, but guys, when it comes to corporate America and all their rules and regs and the way they like to do things, HBAR or Hedera, they understand that. That's why they set up the governance board, which is extremely positive, because when they have to justify to build on a blockchain or move into Web3, they have all those powerhouse corporations to use and justify what they do. But that's not really the point. I was wanting to talk about, or just mention, is the way HBAR is priced, right? It's in fiat, and it's all the transactions are just one set fee that doesn't change. Guys, corporations absolutely love that because they can budget whatever it is they're looking to do. If they want to build out something on the blockchain or on Hedera, which is not technically a blockchain, if they want to build out, say, a metaverse project, they can price out their developers, their times, and then the transaction costs. That is a big plus that no one ever talks about. Anyway, I just did a video talking about the legacy banking system's game plan to not be disrupted. And it's a great video. And if you have an interest in that, guys, I'll leave a link down below. But while I was doing that 5-hour deep dive, I kept coming across SDG, and I couldn't figure out exactly what that was. Well, that is Sustainable Development Goals. And I'm here to tell you guys, that's basically a different way to say ESG. And that will be a part of every blockchain, Web3, metaverse. It doesn't matter. Every corporation in the world is going to have to deal with that. And they're going to have to justify and track, like, basically their climate footprint and their social metrics and all that stuff. Well, that led me into another rabbit hole, so I started doing some research on that to see if there were some blockchains that are innovating in that area. And as you could guess, that led me to HBAR. And that led me to this article. HBAR Foundation launches a $100 million climate-focused impact fund, declaring DOVU as a grantee. Well, that is a project to basically track your social metrics, your climate footprint, and it's built on top of Hedera. So go to DOVU.Earth, check them out, guys. I've already done a little bit of homework. I feel confident that this project has a great future, and I'm going to stack some of these bags. Now, when you look at the chart, you know, they basically launched halfway through the bull run. It came out pretty hot, and now if it takes out its old high, Guys, that's about a 20x. And I have no doubt when HBAR takes out its old high, this thing will do the same. Now, today I was watching a podcast and it was an update on EMtech Corporation. A lot of people are not familiar with EMtech, but I just want to give you a little bit of insight of what they are. Guys, I think there's a misconception around the world. People don't really understand how like legacy banks work, like when they want to say look into CBDCs or cross-border payments or updating their whatever. Guys, they don't call up like ALGORAND or XLM. They don't do it. They have consultants like IBM, Accenture, EMtech, these major corporations that they have worked with for years and years. They call them up and get their input. So it's these corporations that are going to lead them to the blockchain. And quite frankly, guys, I'm here to tell you, banks have no idea. They could care less. They don't. That's like saying, you should use this cell service. They don't know and they don't care. They're like, here's our goals. We trust you. You're the consultants. What should we use? Now, I did a couple of videos on EMtech a while back. Guys, EMtech is a powerhouse entity that works with legacy banking systems, and they help them across the board in a lot of different things. Well, this podcast and the central banks, this podcast was talking about CDBCs and tokenized assets, and I knew that they have a partnership, which they do, with HBAR. But she said something to me that caught me off guard. And guys, I do a lot of research and I thought I knew everything for the most part about HBAR. But she basically, and this, before I say that, this shows, it says EMtech is enabling global financial inclusion by leveraging technology to transform financial ecosystems. Guys, they work with a lot of central banks. Sorry about that. Let's get back to it. But in that podcast, one of the ladies at EMtech was talking about all the stuff they're doing with HBAR, and she mentioned, she goes, well, we're using their Hedera token service. And I didn't know what that was. I knew that they had a lot of projects going on with tokenized assets, which definitely is the future. And honestly, their technology is perfect for that because it can scale and it's really cheap and they can track it and timestamp it and all that great stuff. But anyway, I never heard of that, but I want to share this quick video with you guys about what the Hedera token service is.
Imagine a future where the entire global economy is tokenized. A future where markets are fair and accessible to all. A future where any asset can be tokenized and exchanged anywhere in the world in seconds for a fraction of a penny. This future is being built on Hedera today.
Guys, that's just one thing. Mainly on that video, or on that podcast, she was talking about all the CDBCs they're working with the banks, and they're leading them into HBAR. People don't really think about HBAR when it comes to CDBCs, but I'm telling you, maybe Ethereum, maybe Stellar, but there's a good chance that Hedera gets a large chunk of the CDBCs that are going to launch around the world. We all hate CDBCs, but hey, if we can profit from them, that's fine with me. Now, that being said, I know for sure that tokenized assets are the future. Everything's going to be tokenized. Your car, your boat, your mortgage, your dog, your health records, your driver's license, everything is going to be tokenized. And that leads me again to the video I talked about with the legacy banking system, guys. It's a great it's a really good amount of information. Y'all should watch that because it talks about tokenized assets. And I'm just going to give you an example. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but JP Morgan, their private blockchain, has already done over $700 billion worth of transactions, and no one's even talking about it. You need to be aware of how the legacy banking system is going to move into Web3 and cross-border payments and all that. Because guys, if you're thinking they're going to be disrupted and all that, you're probably going to stack the wrong bags. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked. Let's look at the HBAR chart. Now, I did a video a while back, not that long ago, talking about they have two major unlocks that were coming up. One just occurred a couple of weeks ago, and that's when HBAR, did like that 3x. Well, they did an unlock. It pretty much fell down. Well, now it's starting to pull back where we might start stacking again. I really want it to get back to the lows of last year, and that gets you to about 4 cents, 3 cents. That's, to me, a great place to dollar cost average in. Not financial advice. But guys, there's no reason to chase these pumps. We're in a bear market. That video I did a couple of weeks ago, I knew that it was going to pull back because, guys, when they have unlocks, it's going to add the supply into the market, and that is going to kill any pump. And that's the negative news, so-called negative news I wanted to share with you guys. They have another unlock this month. Now, it may have already occurred because this is the second. I tried to get this out yesterday, but if it hasn't occurred, it's going to happen this month. So don't think that Hederas is going to be able to pump. But I find it really to be good news because I want it to crash and crash. I hope it gets back to 2020 lows back in here under a penny. Just bet the lower it goes, guys, the more money we're going to make, because in my opinion, it's not going anywhere. So when it crashes, it just gives us a better entry point. That's my opinion. Now, here's the other program, or the other project that I really like on HBAR. It's HUMANS.ai. It's a high risk, high reward, but guys, it has a great team. It has some money behind it. We're so early, and I think it's got a great future, and it's one of my bags I'm going to be stacking. I'm going to stack all of them. And when you take a look at its chart, guys, I believe that's about a 15x. I'm doing that by memory, but it's got a lot of room to run. And I did a video on it about right in here. I think it was the end of last year. And this thing's already, moved up good. It's starting to pull back. I want it to pull back more and more. I want everything to pull back to the lows of last year. That makes me happy. I feel so much more comfortable stacking at those levels. But right here, guys, I think if it keeps pulling back for, say, another week or so to start dollar cost averaging into heart, might be a great play. Now, that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I know I'm rambling on a little bit, but guys, I can't be more positive about HBAR. I mean, I literally do 2 or 3 hours of research every single week. I could share really good news almost every single day. Their ecosystem is absolutely exploding. Developers are starting to come into the ecosystem even more. They have a good budget to bring new developers on to do different projects. They got corporate America building like crazy, which they're not talking about, but we know they're being built on, and they are going to announce that. And I think once they start to finish these projects, and maybe at the start of the next bull run or during the next bull run, or maybe they're waiting on regulation, I don't know, but I really feel that the Hedera ecosystem is going to absolutely explode. I know for a fact It's a lot of good, positive, well-established corporations are building on HBAR. And I know this, when you have money and you have development happening during the downtime, that hard work and that money is going to catch up with the price. So I really feel that, in my opinion, in the next bull run, HBAR is going to just be changing gears when it takes out its old high for whatever that's worth. And I'm thinking if you start buying about right here, I think they're at about 11x. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Let me know what you think about those other two projects built on Hedera, and hit that like button. Come back and be part of this community. Remember, not financial advice. Take care, guys.